Welcome back to Foxy TV. I'm here on the Gold Coast for AREC24. It's bright and early on day one, that's Sunday. So this Foxy TV will just be taking you through AREC, what we learned, our takeaways, how we found it, all the good stuff. So let's get into it. We're back in the warehouse. AREC has now finished. We attended that over the weekend. As we always do, I've got a lot of notes. I am a big note taker, and Cody has asked us to share some of our key takeaways, the things that stuck out to us. So I have a whole bunch of pages of stuff. There were some great speakers, some that I got a lot from, some that I didn't get as much, but I thought I would break it down into kind of the main things that jump out at me. And the first one is from, and I'm going to get this name wrong, but Chip Eichelberger, I think is his name. He's somebody who spent a lot of time with Tony Robbins previously. So he was speaking via video, and he said a couple of things that stuck out to me. Talking about things, so he said a streak starts with one, and don't underestimate the power of one decision. And I think that kind of, for me, came back to sometimes it's just take one action. And we've kind of heard this in the past at previous events that we've been to, and it's just a good reminder that sometimes these big grand visions or ideas that you have, you can put them off, and I'm guilty of this as well, and often it just takes that one first step. Pick one thing that you can do towards that one goal, and then pick the next thing and then the next thing. Just do one thing at a time. So that jumped out at me. And then kind of along the same lines was Ryan Serhant over from New York. And I think most would be familiar with him. He's got a lot of TV shows, he's very well known, good marketer. He spoke about, or as he puts it, brand and expand. And I guess from my point of view, as a business owner of a business that's been growing quite successfully, I guess over the last handful of years, we always want to look at what's next, what else can we do, is there more growth, what is the next or a different opportunity. And one thing that's really served us well over the years is our marketing, and really doubling down on the marketing side of things and getting our brand out there. And really, brand is just another word in my mind for reputation. What do people in our industry know of Foxy and of how we do business? And so always be looking or thinking about our brand and what we need to do to grow our brand, to get our name out there in front of more people. And at the same time, expand is, the way he described it was talking about always looking for more opportunities. So for instance, he used an example where at one point there was a very expensive property outside of his area in an entirely different state. And the person asked him, do you service that area? And he, I don't fully agree with the way he described it maybe, but he said he didn't, but he said, absolutely I do. And he went and did a whole lot of research, a whole lot of work. He spoke to people in the area. He did what he needed to make sure that he was across all the information he needed to go and help that client. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to the fake it until you make it, because I don't always think that that's used in the right way. But at the same time, what I took from it was always be looking for opportunities. And for us at Foxy, we're at a stage, like I said, we've had a lot of growth. We're kind of hitting this point where we're trying to decide what's next, and we have a number of things that we're kind of looking at, a number of opportunities that we want to explore, and I think it's exciting. We're at an exciting phase for our business, and that Ryan Serhant, brand and expand, was just something that stuck out to me as don't hold back, always look at those opportunities, and if something's right in front of you, go for it. Tiffany Bova, so she was another speaker. She spoke about, or I'll just read this: the experience is what matters. So it's not necessarily the result. How you make somebody feel is what they will remember. So she used the example of an Uber ride. You won't remember what you paid for it, but you will remember how they made you feel. Was it a good experience? Were they blasting music? Were they friendly? Those are the things that you remember. And I think in our industry, in home staging, one thing that I've come to realize is, we're there to help with the sales process, to get a great result, to get eyeballs on the property. All those things were part of the marketing process. But we've had situations where we've received, or the property was sold for a street record, for instance. So what looks like and sounds like a great result, but the feeling from the client wasn't always 100% positive, because there was a couple of things throughout the process that didn't quite line up. We made maybe little things like miscommunication, or things that we always try and, we're quite proud of how those things are important to us and how well we do with those things, but you don't always hit it 100% of the time. So getting a street record seems like something that should result in 100% happy, like very happy client, and it didn't always hit that mark, or it doesn't always. So how you make somebody feel is the most important part of somebody interacting with you and using your services. So that one jumped out at me just as a good reminder in the staging industry that while we're there to do, try and achieve a particular outcome, all of the interactions, all the things we do to get to that point and how we make the client feel is just as important. I'm getting through them, a couple more. Going back to looking at opportunities and expansion and looking at new shiny things, Gavin Rubenstein said something that kind of is important to that as well, which is keep the main thing the main thing. And to me, that was just a good reminder that while you want to look at other opportunities, you might want to look at new markets, another revenue stream, a different offering, all things that we're kind of looking at the moment. It's very important that you don't let the main thing that got you here, the thing you're well known for, our brand, our reputation, you don't want that thing to get lost or get diminished by going into these other areas. So it's a good reminder again to us that while we start looking at these other opportunities, that we always stick to what we're really, really good at and what we're well known for. Another one from Ryan Serhant, he said, it was a question that you ask yourselves as business owners, which is how can I be better for everybody who works for us? And that was something that I think Phoebe and I and also our leadership team should always be asking, what can I do to be better for those that work here in the warehouse and in the office, the stylists with us? What can I do to make their jobs and their lives easier and Foxy better? And that's, I won't go into any more there, just other than to say that's a good reminder and something that we need to always be thinking about. Ryan Reynolds was there, again via video. I didn't have anything specific from what he said, but he's just a really interesting guy, had a lot of stories. It was a Q&A type session. But what I kind of took from that was, he was asked about a number of his business brands, his movies, how he got to where he is. And what it kind of reminded me is, and I know I'm not alone in saying this as a business owner, we feel busy. We've got little time, we're doing things Phoebe and I are working after hours, we're here all day, we don't feel like we always have the most time available to us. And we're running one little home staging business in Brisbane, Ryan Reynolds is probably, there's people like him that are so busy, their time is so in demand, and yet they're involved in so many successful things. So what I kind of thought about is how does somebody like that who's so busy and has so much going on still have time to do all these other things and do them quite well? And I think it's, again, we've spoken about this before, but it comes back to having the team in place, having great people around you, giving them opportunities to take on responsibility and grow themselves. And I think that was just, when we're obviously not even similar leagues to somebody like that, but if we want to look at these other opportunities and how do we get there, it's about making sure we have those people in place. But then also a reminder to Phoebe and I, what is our time best spent doing? There are plenty of things that we shouldn't be doing probably, and we take up a lot of our days with things that other people can be doing at this point. And we can really focus on the things that are most valuable to Foxy, our brand, and to the other opportunities around us that we're looking at. So that's all I had written down, or they're the key takeaways. I had a whole lot of other stuff. Very good weekend. I think we got a lot out of it, and really have to start now looking back and trying to implement some of these things, and watch this space. Foxy's got some exciting stuff that we're looking into.
I think the theme of the entire, there was one word that just kept coming up over and over again. It doesn't matter who presented, and that was about consistency. Consistency and people actually are the two that I would say are the things that kept coming up over and over again. So consistency in the theme of prospecting for a real estate agent, and just keep doing it, keep going, because when you stop, that's when you lose your traction. We don't actually prospect. So we're now at the point where all of our work is inbound and it's purely referral based, which is an amazing, awesome spot to be. And it was been a long road to get there. Ryan Reynolds, he's an amazing person, and I love the way he was just so easily able to talk about all these different business ventures. So he's obviously very in each of those business ventures and has a lot of passion for each of them. He would rather, in certain conversations, he would rather be kind more so than right. And I feel like that's something I'm going to take on board. Not that I always want to be right, but I feel like I want to take more of a kind pathway in some situations, more often. That's going to sit better with me. Ryan Serhant, oh my gosh, he was amazing. I could have my eyes closed and listen to him talk for a very long time. A couple of things that I took from him: follow up, follow through, follow back. Now, as our business grows and as it has grown and as we look to the future, I think that's definitely something that we need to do better for our business. So we have a follow-up process. We're really, really great at that, but we definitely don't double back, and nor do we go back through when a client or a new homeowner has moved into the home. There is so much potential there, and that's definitely an area that we would love to look into doing more more work in. Something that Jake has been on about for quite some time with me is about me being protective of my time. So I'm being really deliberate now that we've obviously scaled. We've got 30 people in the team. Deliberate with how I'm spending my time and what I'm needing to spend my time on. And that's been a really hard transition, going from door always open, out styling with the team, always having conversations, knowing everybody intricately, knowing what they've got on, what they're doing, all those sorts of things. It's been a really hard transition for me to allow more of an operations manager to step in, have those relationships, then going down the path of like looking at a GM who's going to be above that person, and then there being me. So that sort of transition as our business has grown has been really difficult. However, I really loved Ryan Serhant put up a picture of his day. Whilst I will not be fasting until midday, and I'm definitely not eating on a Thursday, the things that he's got in there, I loved what he had. There was a big thing about a 1,000-minute rule. So when he gets into the office, he breaks his day down basically 1,000 minutes. He's got 1,000 minutes, making $1 a minute, so $1,000 per day. Being in a position where you're now running the business, most of the phone calls that you get from your staff are problems. They're not going to ring you to tell you that they've done amazing. They're not going to tell you that they're proud. They're not going to ring and tell you how phenomenal the outcome looked. They're going to ring you when things are falling apart. If you allow that, or a tricky customer or a tricky client, someone who's cranky, if I allow that 15 minutes to ruin the rest of the $985 worth of my day, well, then I need to spin around and look around a different way. And I really love that perspective on it. Being protective over those 1,000 minutes in a day. So you'll watch this space. Don't have any clues on how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to. Overall, I love the idea of not being the smartest person in the room. Now, Jake tells me he makes that really easy for me because he's always smarter than me, but always learning and always finding people who are amazing that we can definitely develop from.